Tuesday to all of you. Tuesday at 10, we are talking about what yelling does to your kids. So, a lot of people yell at their kids, clearly. A lot of people yell at their kids. You want to prove that? Let me prove that to you. I wrote an article on January 8th in the Elephant Journal. And if you'd like to read it, it is How to Stop Yelling at Your Kids Once and for All. I wrote this article on January 8th. It is now February 16th. And I haven't checked it lately, but I will tell you, let me just check it real quick while I have you here on broadcast. In a month approximately, that article has been read 167,000 times and shared by almost 50,000 people in 1 month. Do you think parents are a little stressed out? They're a little stressed out. So if you want to read the article, go to celiasarticle.com. celiasarticle.com. I'm hoping that link works. If it doesn't work, go to the Elephant Journal and look up Celia Kibler and you'll find my article. Okay. So say hello. Let me open up Pumped Up Parenting because I'm not sure I can see you. I'm supposed to tell you guys that you're supposed to go to Restream, go to chat.restream.io/Facebook. And that actually tells Restream your name so I can see your name. So thank you. I can't wait to have you on my show Thursday. Yay, yay. Hi, Linda. I can't wait to be there. And is that Jennifer? Is that you? Who is that? Jessica? Okay. Anyway, but if you go to chat.restream.io/Facebook, it actually lets you put your name in so that I can see your name, because it's really annoying that I can't see your name. So, there. Oh no, I didn't put that in. So do you see that? Do you see that? It's CL. Hi, CL. How are you? How are you? Amazing human being. I can't see. So do you guys see, like when I put a comment in, can you see that? Because I don't know. I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, hi, Wendy. How are you? All right. So let's get down to the bottom line. What are you doing to your kids when you yell at them? And before I get down to the bottom line, I forgot to tell you who I am. So as you can see, where am I? Opposite land. Celia Kibler, family empowerment coach. That's me. Founder of Pumped Up Parenting, co-founder of Fun Fit Family Fitness. Been working with kids and parents for 40 years. Mommy of 5, 2 I gave birth to, 3 I gained through marriage. Grandma of, how many people am I? 9 grandkids now. And on a mission to stop 1 million parents from yelling at their kids and start creating childhoods that everyone can blossom from. You can blossom from the childhood you create with your children as well. If you don't think you can learn from your kids by now, you can. You can learn a lot from kids. Oh, you can't see my comments. All right. Well, I don't even know why I put them in there then, because I don't maybe I'm sending it to I don't know. Maybe I'm sending it to Restream. I don't know where the comment's going. Anyway, sorry you can't see my comments. All right. So let's get down and dirty and talk about this, guys. This is what happens when you yell at kids, okay? And it also occurs when you yell at other people in the household and not necessarily at them. Let me tell you about my family. So I had a wonderful mother and father, but my dad was physically abused and mentally abused as a child. He did not bring the physical abuse into the family, but definitely that short temper that he grew when he was a child, that short fuse, that mental abuse definitely came into play. He would yell at us. You'd never know what would set him off. He would call my mom stupid and idiot. And I know he regretted every moment of this. And I know if you're someone that yells at your kids, you regret it. So while you're here in the comments, give me a number 1 if you feel like you yell at your kids and you yell at them too much and you want to learn how to stop it. Because you're not alone. I don't want you to think that, oh my gosh, I'm a terrible mom, I'm a terrible dad because I yell at my kids. No, you're not. If you are willing to learn how to control that, you're not just a great mom or dad, you're an even better mom and dad because you're willing to learn and grow. Hi, Benedicta. You should learn something new every day and make it a mission in your family for all of you to learn something new every day. What makes you a not such great human being is when you think you know it all. When you think there is absolutely nothing to learn in life, then what's the purpose? What's the purpose of going through life? You should learn something new up to your dying day. There is always opportunity to learn something new. So let's learn today what's happening to your kids while you're yelling at them, okay? Or yelling at other people. This is what happens. Number 1, put on my screen for a reason. Oh, Nikki, you're the sweetest. I love you. Number 1, when you yell at your kids, you crush their spirit. You crush their self-esteem. I know what you're thinking, but they only listen if I yell. Number 1, you've trained them to do that. I hate to tell you, this is not their reaction. This is how you have trained your children not to listen until you yell. I call it one and done. You go up there, you tell your kids to do something. They don't do it, you leave. 5 minutes later, you're back. 5 minutes later, you're back. 5 minutes later, you're back. If they're playing video games, they just gain 20 more minutes of play if they're on a video game because they know you're not serious till you yell at them. You have trained them to wait for the yelling. Whereas if you went up there and asked them nicely to do something, and then if they don't do it, you have some consequence in place. You turn off the video game, you turn off the TV, you take away their phone. Okay, well, now come to dinner. They're going to get it if you're consistent with that. They're going to learn, uh-oh, mom said stop playing, we need to stop playing, or she's taking that video game away. So you are actually training your kids to not listen until you yell because they don't think you're serious until you start yelling at them. Get serious before you yell at them. All right? Okay. So you are crushing their spirit. Number 1. You actually create a serious case of low self-esteem and low worth. I don't even know what my phone just did. They start thinking they're not worthy of success. They're not worthy of love. They're not worthy of anything. They think, and I bet I'm going to pause for a minute, and I want you to think back of when you were yelled at as a child. And I want you to think about any of these things I say that's happening to your children if they happen to you. And if you still think that way, if you still believe those voices in your head that were planted there when you were a child. I have them. It took me a long time to get over them. And there are situations where I still second guess myself. It happened just the other day. And my husband was like, why are you second guessing yourself? Because yelling created a disbelief in my own thoughts. And I learned to second guess myself. Maybe you did too. So you teach your kids, don't have confidence in what you're thinking. Don't have confidence in what you're doing because it's wrong. You're getting yelled at. Even when you do something right, you get yelled at, so it must be wrong. So you grow up thinking, oh, everything I do is wrong. I can never do anything right. Ask a teenager why they're disconnected from their family, and they'll say, nobody listens to me, nobody cares about what I have to say, and nothing I do is right. That comes from an aggressive household, not a cooperative household. If you had a cooperative household, your children wouldn't feel disrespected. They wouldn't feel like they couldn't trust you. And by the way, guys, share this out because I'm on a mission to stop 1 million parents from yelling at their kids. So therefore, you need to share this out so more people hear this. So let me ask you, do you feel like you second guess yourself? Do you feel like you have zero confidence in what you're doing? Do you feel like you're not worthy of success or love? I have to tell you, years ago, I listened to a training by, who was it? Oh my gosh, I can't remember who it was. But they started talking about self-worth. And that probably wasn't that many years ago. Maybe it was 10 or 15 years ago. And all of a sudden, I thought, that's it. I don't feel worthy. And this was like 10 or 15 years ago. I just turned 63. Are you going to wait that long to discover this? Or are you going to plant these things in your child's mind so that by the time they're 50, 55, they're like, they still don't feel worthy? Wendy said, can this be undone? Absolutely, Wendy. Absolutely. And I'm glad we're working together because absolutely this can be undone. When you start allowing your children to communicate, when you give them their voice back, when you actually listen, you don't interrupt, you don't criticize, you listen to what they're saying with your eyes. You're not holding this thing in your hand and scrolling through Facebook. I mean, I appreciate you being on Facebook now and listening to me, or on YouTube or wherever you are. But this shouldn't be in your hand if your children are trying to talk to you. This sends a direct message that your phone is more important than them. And you know what's going to happen? They'll stop talking to you. They will not come to you to ask for any advice. It will all end. And when they get to be teenagers, they won't talk to you. They won't ask you for help. They'll ask their friends, or they'll ask Google, or they'll join a group of kids where they feel like they belong. And it's not going to be good. They'll turn to alcohol. They'll turn to drugs. That's why we have such an abuse problem in this country, because kids were not taught how to deal with disappointment and how to deal with someone saying no to them. So they grew up not knowing how to deal with disappointment and feeling like they were a piece of garbage. When you feel like you're a piece of garbage and you think that you disappoint everybody all the time, including yourself, you turn to something to soothe that emotion, to soothe that anxiety. That's what you're putting into your kids when you yell at them. They don't grow up hating you. They grow up hating themselves. I'll say it again. They don't grow up to hate you. They grow up to hate themselves. And I know none of you on this broadcast, because you're on this broadcast and you're listening to this, want your children to grow up and hate themselves. What do we have children for? We had this dream. We're going to have a family. I'm going to create these amazing humans. They're going to be kind. They're going to be respectful. They're going to, love everybody. They're going to be, they're going to talk nice. They're going to have manners. They're going to be fun. We're going to have fun. And then reality hits you in the face. Here it is. Here's your child. Here's your toddler. Your toddler is totally ignoring anything you're saying. You're trying to tell them to do something and they're ignoring it. And you start yelling at them. Why? Because you haven't learned about that toddler. You haven't taken the time to understand that the human brain doesn't fully develop till you're 25 years old. So if you're not 25 right now, you don't have a fully developed brain. When you look at your children and they're 5 years old and you're like, you look like you're playing with half a deck. They are. They're actually literally playing with half a deck, half a brain full of emotions and not much else. They need you to learn how to understand their emotions and regulate them and have logic. That's not built in at birth. Yes, I need help. I'm yelling so bad. I have a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old little boy. Everyone is home all the time. It's so much. I know, Nicole. You know what, Nicole? I really appreciate you saying that and being authentic with everyone. I'm going to put your little note up. Because you know what makes you great, Nicole? And Nicole, you spell your name just like my daughter spells her middle name. And she used to yell at us because she used to say, not yell at us. She used to joke around with us because she's like, nobody spells their name that way. So I have to tell her. I met somebody that uses an H in the name. But, you know, I actually, hold on. I lost my train of thought because I got distracted because I have ADD. And so I noticed the Nicole, and now I don't know what I was talking about. Number one, Nicole, you can reach out to me. We can set up a free call. Go to talkwithcelia.com if you want. And let's talk for now about what's going on. And also, guys, my Peaceful Parenting Challenge is starting. I'm going to tell you about it at the end. But when you're yelling at your kids, because I don't know what I was talking about prior to this, talking about Nicole's spelling. When you yell at your kids, they wind up behaving because they're afraid of you, not because they want to cooperate, but because they're afraid of you. And when you learn the right tools of how to create cooperation, how to listen well, how to not just react, how to be proactive instead of reactive. When you learn how to do that, then your children cooperate because they want to cooperate. They actually volunteer for things. One of my clients, one of her first successes was she said, my twins helped clean up the kitchen. They cleaned up the living room. We got time to play a game all without asking. And those twins were 6 years old, all without asking. Because when you create a home that's cooperative, that you're listening to your kids, that you're respecting your kids, when you are listening, when you are creating that home, your kids want to help. They want to be part of the fun. They understand that, you know what, this house is everyone's house. And in order to live in this house, we all have our own responsibilities. It's not a chore. It's something they want to do because they like living in a calm, unchaotic home. Unchaotic, is that a word? Not chaotic. Non-chaotic? I don't know what that is. A home that's not chaotic. And you know what? Clutter is chaos. When you walk into a room that's all cluttered, how do you feel? Think about it. How do you really feel? Deep down. You get anxious. You feel stressed because clutter itself is chaotic. Take action on clearing the clutter, not just in your house, in your mind, in your heart, in your stomach. Those TVs that are on all of the time, turn them off. Who needs that noise? Nobody's watching. Turn it off. They're habits that we need to break because we need to calm the chaos in our lives. That's part of taking charge of not yelling. When you feel stressed out, you feel irritable, you yell. When you're hungry, you yell. Sorry, these little notifications. I don't know how to turn those things off. Everything in Apple's connected. The computer, the phone, the iPad. I don't know how to turn that off. So sorry if you're hearing bings. Maybe you don't hear them. Maybe I'm just hearing them. Anyway, back on subject. But when you're yelling, you're creating a house where all the kids are yelling back. You're creating an environment of screaming matches. Who can scream louder? Who can yell louder? And how do you feel after you yell? Put in the comments how you feel after you yell. Because I bet you feel pretty guilty about it and you feel terrible. And you're like, you know, I started this day with the intention of not yelling. And here it is 10 o'clock and I'm yelling. But it's not going to change overnight. It didn't happen overnight. It's not going to change overnight. Nicole, yes. Wendy, you feel defeated. Nicole cries and feels awful. It's not going to change overnight. You have to be intentional about it. You have to decide that you're going to do something about them yelling, that you are going to take action. You are going to learn what you need to learn. You're going to work with someone. If it's not me, work with someone else. But get it done. I'd love to work with anyone that needs help. But, you know, if that's not your comfort zone, make sure who you're working with, you believe in, you trust, you know that they'll be able to help you, and be intentional about changing. Because that's how change will happen. And I'm telling you, everyone in your house will be on board. Even if you have a spouse or a partner that's like, I ain't doing it. It's not going to work. We always yell. That's what we do. We're the loud house. We yell. But if you start making changes and they see it, oh, they'll change. They'll get on board because nobody likes to yell. Nobody likes to be yelled at. Nobody likes to yell. April says, I hate yelling, and I especially hate when they yell at each other and they sound exactly like me. Yeah. It's like a mirror image, right? You're like, whoops. And the thing is, it makes everyone angry. And then you wind up punishing your kids for something that they learned from you. Everything you do, parents, everything, every single thing you do, you give your children permission to do, good or bad. I don't care what it is. You cuss, you give them permission to cuss. You scream, you give them permission to scream. You smile, you give them permission to smile. Whatever you do, you give them permission to do. So you can't punish them for it. Why? You taught them. Don't teach them what you don't want them to do. I know. Big eye openers, right? I get it. I get it. I get it. Yep. See, Linda's a grandma like me and one of my dear, dear friends. But you see it. It's, you know, yellers. Now, when I grew up, my father would yell and I would walk away. I would like, zoom, get out of there. So you know what I became? I became the peacemaker. I became the one that kept the calm. I became the people pleaser. Is that you? Are you a people pleaser? Because that's also what's created. You spend your life trying to please everybody, which, by the way, is impossible. You cannot please everybody. It's impossible. You absolutely cannot please everyone you run into. Somebody's going to have to be disappointed. You have to live your life that you intend to live. Give your children the life that you intend them to have a vision for them, and make it happen. Otherwise, you're going to impact generations to come. Your children will yell at their children. Your grandchildren will yell at their children. Your great-grandchildren will yell at their children. It will never end until someone says, it ends with me. This is where it ends. I felt like crap when I was yelled at. I will not do that to my kids because it's never too late and you can turn it around. Don't ever think it's too late to create happy childhoods. It's never too late. Yeah, Wendy, I know. I know. Linda said, I'm a grandparent now and unfortunately was a yeller. I see the patterns in my adult children and so want them to see the need and how to break the cycle. Oh, good. Thank you, Linda. I appreciate it. I appreciate you sharing with them. Nicole said, I'm going to sign up for the Peaceful Parent Challenge. Oh, I have to give you the link to that. I feel like the pandemic has thrown me a curveball. School at home, work at home, no time for myself, exhausted at the end of the day. I'm ready to get back. Yes. COVID land has really thrown a curveball into it. Good way of saying it, Nicole. I mean, we're all stressed. We're stressed not knowing what's going to happen. We're stressed not knowing if our kids are going back to school. If our kids go back to school, we're stressed and worried about them catching COVID and bringing it home and being sick, and we're being sick and affecting other people in our family. We're stressed about the snowball effect. We're completely stressed about all that stuff. And when you're stressed, you tend to yell more. And right now is a hard time. It's a hard time for all of us, which is why I'm doing my challenge again. I just did it a couple weeks ago. I'm going to do it probably twice a month because I want to get to more and more of you. It's free. It's 5 days. Sign up at stopyellingchallenge.com. Stopyellingchallenge.com. I put in the comments, but I don't think you guys see it. I'm going to put it in the comments anyway. Stop Yelling Challenge, if I can spell, .com. Stopyellingchallenge.com. Okay, I put it in the comments. So if anybody can see it, then it's good. Okay? And if you can't see it, it's stop. Oh, you know what? Maybe somebody watching can also put it in the comments. Stopyellingchallenge.com. Because I don't know if you're seeing that. So, guys, really think about how you felt when you were yelled at. Write it down if you want to. Think about how you think your kids feel when they're yelled at. And that will help you start realizing, you know what? This needs to change. I'm destroying my own children. And I'm causing them to be yellers anytime they get involved in a relationship. Any relationship. They have their first relationship with their friends. There'll be kids that yell and are aggressive. Thank you, guys. When they get into a relationship of love, they'll be yellers. When they have kids, they'll be, it won't stop because we're planting those little things in our head, those little voices that we don't want to listen to, that we always do. The person you listen to the most is yourself. So you need to flip a switch on those voices. Don't listen because they're not true. They're not true. Don't call yourself stupid. You're not stupid. Don't call yourself, oh, I'm such an idiot. Why did I do that? You're not an idiot. You're human. And when we're human, we make mistakes. And we have different emotions. Why? We're human. Your children are human too. Okay, guys. So I'm going to end. Thank you for being on for a half hour with me. I know a half hour is super valuable. Your time is super valuable. And I'm grateful that you decide to spend it here with me. Thursday, 10 a.m., I'll be live again, talking about something else. I cannot remember. I think it's about yelling. This is my yelling week. So if you want to just talk about what's going on with you guys and you just, you don't want to get into public and all that stuff, you just like to have a private conversation, like I said, go to talkwithcelia.com, pick out a time and let's talk about it. It's free. It's no commitment. It's nothing like that. Let's just talk about what's going on with you. Okay. Sometimes you just need someone to talk to that's not emotionally involved in your family. All right, guys. Well, I hope you got value from this. I hope you take some of this advice and put it into action tonight. Every time I go live, I hope that you're taking something home with you and implementing it. And in the meantime, guys, as always, I wish you peace, love, and tons of laughter. It really is the best medicine. Laugh more, yell less. And I'll see you here Thursday at 10 a.m. And maybe in the challenge starts Friday. StopYellingChallenge.com. It starts on Friday. Register today. There's limited space for sure. Okay, guys, have an awesome day. I'll see you next time in Pumped Up Parenting. Bye, everyone.